Welcome to Unsportsmanlike Conduct. Trevor Brew and Tommy Morris with you. In the last week, we have seen 4 prominent retirements. Guys pretty young who have retired in the NFL. Tommy, is this a big problem for the NFL?
Yeah, I'd just like to mention that 2 of them are 49ers, so congratulations, Trevor. I think it might be a problem. I mean, maybe guys are starting to think I shouldn't be playing as much as I am. I mean, it's a lot. If you think about some of these guys who are playing Pop Warner, they start playing when they're about 8 years old, 7, 8 years old. By the time they're 20, in their late 20s, they've been playing the game for 20 years. I mean, imagine that. That's crazy. So, yeah, I think it's a lot of football for a body to take once you've been playing for that long. I think they might have a problem on their hands, to be honest with you.
You know, the 3 before, we had Jason Worilds, who was 27, who probably left $15 million in guaranteed money on the table from Pittsburgh. Patrick Willis, 30, leaves $20 million guaranteed on the table from the 49ers. Jake Locker, probably not as prominent, not having as good a career, but still 26, was a first-round pick in 2011. And then Maurice Jones-Drew, 29 years old, probably the least, and probably him and Locker were the least in demand, but still a prominent name. And then we had Rashard Mendenhall last year at 26, who was a first-round pick, who still had a good career, had him who called it quits. I think, if anything, this is the time where the NFL has to just put an end to any talk of an 18-game season. If they bring that up anytime in the near future, it just shows how off-base Roger Goodell is with everything in terms of looking out for the players. And take a step further, if the NFL really cares about the players and they want to focus on preserving their careers, it's time to get rid of the Thursday night games. Players have already complained about it. You're watching players. Someone like Chris Borland, I would say, is in a different category than a Patrick Willis, than a Jason Worilds. Even though they're all great players, Chris Borland's only 24. He doesn't have any injuries that have been nagging him, which is something like Patrick Willis had with the toe injury. Chris Borland retired strictly because he didn't think long-term for his health this was the best decision. So I think he stands out differently than the other guys. Another thing to take into account, I think the fact that so many of these guys are getting good positions on TV and able to make money from doing stuff on TV is helping them with their decision to retire early. Because,
okay, well, good luck getting a job on TV, Chris Borland, when you're 24 and you're ready to retire. I mean, where's he going to go? He'll go back to Wisconsin and do radio? I mean,
Tommy, I'm not saying that every athlete can get a job on TV. I'm just saying when you look at how many guys now have opportunities when they call it quits to find areas on TV to work, I think it at least gives the outlook after sports.
I think it's a very small percentage of athletes that have that opportunity. Very small. And if that's their backup plan, then they're mistaken, because it's not easy. I mean, you look and you see a lot of guys who've jumped straight from the field to TV. I mean, they're all pros for 10 years. I mean, look at Ray Lewis. I mean, Ray Lewis is not just some regular guy. So it's one thing if you were one of the best in the league. It's another thing if you're Chris Borland. I'm sorry.
And that is a good point, but he also did graduate college. He has a bachelor's degree from Wisconsin, so he at least has that to show for. But on the bigger picture, Tommy, we know you're a big boxing fan, or you were a big boxing fan. Do you think the NFL is headed down the same path that boxing was? I mean, boxing was the most popular sport in the 50s. The NFL obviously is the most popular sport in America right now, but what are we going to see in 20 years? Parents are banning their kids from playing Pop Warner.
I mean, if you saw League of Denial, they said some stat, if 20% of mothers don't want their kids playing football anymore, then the league's going to be done by the time those kids become adults. So, yeah, maybe it's something you got to be worried about. I don't think you need to play Pop Warner to be a good tackle football player. I think you can wait until high school. To be honest with you, I think it's kind of gross that kids are allowed to play tackle football. I think they do need to wait until they're about middle school age. So I think that would help. But, again, I mean, boxing is suffering for completely different reasons. Boxing is not suffering because of concussions. Boxing is suffering because of boxing itself. The way it's structured is terrible. Kids don't want to be boxers anymore, so that's where you're seeing a problem with boxing. Football's a little bit different.
But when you say kids don't want to be boxers anymore, if parents are banning their kids from playing football, even if they want to play, you're gonna see the same fate.
Yeah, but I mean, will you really? I mean, there's still going to be some kids playing, and at the end of the day, you're going to have X amount of people who make it to the NFL. Maybe the pool that you're pulling from is not as big, but whatever. And it's becoming a little more international. You might see more international players coming, but I think they'll find a way to fill the void. I really do.
I think at the end of the day, they got to get rid of the Thursday night football. Got to get rid of any talk of the 18-game season, like I said before. If Roger Goodell is serious about preserving the integrity and the league itself, preserving it long-term, they got to do more to look out for the players' best interests.